I had a typical childhood. I mean, we were a lower class family, Latinos living in Bushwick, Brooklyn. That's where we grew up. And to me, I had everything. I didn't know the difference between rich and poor. Now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, we were poor. But we lived in Bushwick for up until I was 13, and then I lived in Ecuador. My parents took me back to my country, which is Ecuador, and we lived there for a few years until I came back in high school. And then I went to college to study computer information systems, and then I changed majors to become a teacher. I met my husband, and we had a great marriage. We didn't want to get pregnant right away because we wanted to first become established. We didn't want to do the same things my parents did. We want to give our kids a better opportunity. So we both went to college. We graduated college. We then became professionals. He got a job at the museum. I became a teacher, and I was escalating through that ladder, and we were living great. But then we were like, okay, now it's time to have a child. We have our home. We advanced farther than we had ever our parents had, and if it weren't for them, we would not have be where we are. And so we tried to get pregnant. We struggled to get pregnant, but we ended up getting pregnant. And once I gave birth, that's when it all started. That's where my journey started. I delivered my son, but like maybe 3 seconds later, when the doctor was about to remove the placenta, he's like, Kim, you're losing a lot of blood. And I just remember passing out. I remember seeing like the light, like I'm Christian and I believe in God. And I felt like I was going to heaven. I really did. I saw the light, and I told my husband, I told him, I'm leaving you now. And I felt peace. I knew I was going to heaven, but I felt peace. And now I'm like, I don't know how I could have felt that. I wanted my son so badly, but here I was at peace to go. I just remember waking up, and I was intubated, and my husband just that everything went well. That's when my journey just began. Like, it was horrible waking up. I was intubated. There was so much pain. But we made it through. I was in ICU for about maybe 7 to 11 days. It was just a really hard time. I needed about 8 pints of blood. I lost almost all my blood. I nearly died. And so I got home, and I just remember feeling really weak and sick. And I remember maybe like a few days later, I got a fever, and I got like flu-like symptoms. I was really sick. I had a fever. I was shaking. I got like a rash all over my body. I went to the doctor, and he said maybe it's a urinary tract infection. So he gave me antibiotics, and I felt better 7 days later. But I was feeling weird symptoms. I was feeling like a vibration in my leg, like pulsations. It was weird. At one moment, my foot, like it was hurting me. My hips started, like I was feeling weird symptoms. And I told the doctor, but he said, you just gave birth. Your body was stretched, it could be. But it was just weird because it felt like a vibration coming through my body. I also felt like this weird thing in my chest, like a weird vibration in my chest when I left the hospital. But the doctor said it could be the antibiotics because they put you on a lot of antibiotics. So I didn't know because I had just given birth, so I don't know what that feels like. I just know that it was weird. After that, I just remember a month passing, but during that time, it was little weird things, like maybe like a tightness in my head, pain in my back, and everybody kept telling me, "Oh, it's because you're breastfeeding, you're tired, you mommy blues." And I just remember feeling weird, like my eyes, like my vision felt weird. I just felt tightness in my head, and by September, I gave birth June 24th. By September 1st, I was just like really sick. Like I would wake up dizzy and spinning and vertigo. And my mom was like, maybe you're not eating enough. Maybe you just gave birth. So everything was attributed to that. I ended up going to the emergency room like almost every other day because it was just like I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I just feel so sick. I don't know what's happening. So I made an appointment with a general doctor. But that took like a week or two before I could go to him. In that time, again, emergency room, they took out so much blood. I mean, there was one point where my veins were shot from it, that they had to take blood from over here. It was just a nightmare. They took 50 vials of blood. They didn't know what was going on. They kept saying, they told me they thought it was mommy blues, like postpartum depression. And I'm like, I don't feel depressed. I just feel sick. And I feel weird things I have never felt. Like I feel things in my ears. I feel like tinnitus. I've never had tinnitus. I feel buzzing. My head is spinning. I feel vibration. Like it's weird. And so then I remember going to my general doctor. And thank God for him. Thank God for him. I feel like God put so many people in my journey that helped me. And so he gave me the Western blot. And he's like, I just give it because I don't know what's going on with you. So he just like, let me just run this on you because your symptoms are weird. So that came back positive for Lyme disease. I just remember waking up the next day and this weird feeling, like this horrible feeling in my chest. Like if I had snakes in my chest. That's the only way I can describe it. And it was just like a weird like vibration. Like you don't know if it's your heart. You have no idea what it could be. And I've never felt that before. Never. So I go again to the emergency room. I'm like, I think my heart, I have something in my heart. I just got diagnosed with Lyme disease. I don't know what it could be. And so at the emergency room, they can't help you. They're like, we don't know what to give you. We don't know if you already got the diagnosis, take the antibiotics, and then you should be fine. I said, oh my gosh, okay. So I just was praying, like, what is this? But I took the antibiotics. I was being patient, but you can't sleep. Like, this vibration doesn't leave your chest. And at that point, there was no peace in my body. There was no peace. It was just constant, like pain and weird symptoms and like a thing in my chest. Like you can't even eat. You're feeling this horrible thing in your chest. So they sent me to get like scans through my body. They found like they found like a tumor they thought it was. So I go get it. They did an X-ray on my chest because they're like at the emergency room. They're like, it looks like it I don't know. We must have missed it. I don't know. So they brought me back. So then I had to go get a CAT scan so they could get a further testing on it. They thought it was a tumor. And so I had to go to like a specialist for that. He's like, it's not a tumor. It's a cyst. So then they said it could be because when you were intubated, you got an infection. So, okay. So that was that answer to that. And then the doctor was like, you have Lyme disease, so you just have to let it go its course. I took the 3 weeks medicine and I did feel better for about a week. Then after that, I was worse than ever. I mean, I couldn't, at that point, it was just like you're living a nightmare inside of your body. No one can understand what you're feeling and they're looking at you like you're crazy. That's what everyone made me feel like. It was postpartum depression. I'm like, I'm not depressed. I'm happy to be a mother. I'm happy. I want to like, I'm not, that's not it. So I was like, I guess at this point, if no doctor can help me, because my doctor was like pretty much, I can't give you more than 3 weeks. I need to start doing my research. So I prayed and I was like, God, guide me. What do I need to do? Because there's no answer. No, my doctor was like, there's nothing else I can do. You need to find a specialist. So I called doctor after doctor after doctor. There's no appointments. You just put myself on waiting list after waiting list. But I'm not getting better. At that point, I'm getting worse. I'm feeling like these weird things in my head. Like at one point, I felt like my skull was cracking. I could tell my husband, I told my husband, I feel like something is in my head. Like I don't know what this is, but I was looking online and I feel like I was just praying, God, and I know God's hand is in this. The same way he was when I tried to get pregnant. I was trying to find the right doctor. He guided me to the right doctor. So NYCIM came up. I was doing a lot of research. I saw this testimonial that was up there. I don't know if it's still up there because I haven't been there, but there was this guy who was also very sick, and I was like, he looked very sincere, and I was like, okay, I'm not at where he's at because he was very sick, but I didn't want to get there, but I was like, he compelled me. So I called you guys, and I called various people, and the first person I spoke to was Agatha, and she's just an angel. And I have to say that she because of her kindness and her love, she convinced me to come. And I had called another place before her. There were two places that I was calling similar, Manhattan Advanced Medicine or something like that in the city. And I called them and I called here at the same time. And when I called them, the person who answered their phone was not nice. She was actually, she wasn't negative, but she wasn't Agatha. I called her and I was like, oh, can you tell me about your doctor? What are the results? And she was just like, we have some results. And I was like, okay. And is he good? Like, are people getting better? Some people get better. And I was like, okay, that's not what I need to hear. And so I was like, okay, but put me on the waiting list. So he was going to see me. He had like a shorter waiting list than New York Center for Innovative Medicine. I think it was at Manhattan Advanced Medicine, something like that. So when I spoke to Agatha, she was like, you're going to get better. And that's what I needed to hear. It's going to work. Get yourself on the list. He gets results. He's going to get it done. And so I said, okay. He was farther. Dr. Schultz's appointment was in February. I think this doctor's was before Christmas. But in my heart, I didn't get a good impression from there. So I said, okay, I'm going to wait for this doctor. This is the one. So I stayed on this waiting list. I canceled that one. But from September to February, I actually went to various doctors because I kept getting worse. And I just needed to. I had a doctor in Connecticut. I had a doctor in New Jersey. I went to Pennsylvania. I mean, I went everywhere. There were so many doctors that I went to. I went to the doctor that they said is one of the best ones from the ILADS or something. He was like the president or something, Dr. Cameron or something. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, I went to him and I was like so excited. Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, you got to a great doctor. So I was like, oh, thank God. I got him. More antibiotics. Okay, so I was like, maybe I need to be on antibiotics. So I stood with him for a little bit, but I got worse. So then I was like, I'm going to go the natural route. So I found a doctor in Connecticut. And then I did a combination of Connecticut with a doctor in New Jersey. And I was trying to go to so many different places. By this, I had a huge cabinet full of vitamins and drops and all these things. And I just had I was taking over 60 pills a day trying to get better. And going on Amazon and getting this and getting that. And I wasn't getting better. So by December, I actually got the worst. I got really sick. I couldn't move. I couldn't even use the bathroom anymore by myself. My husband had to. My mom and my dad, my husband, they would help me. I couldn't even hold my son. It got really, really bad. And I had to stop working at that point. But thank God for my job. They were also very understanding. But that was really hard because I was just in pain. And at that point, you get to the point where your family is frustrated too because it's like they don't know what's going on with you, and the doctors say that you should be fine, that it's in your head, that you're gonna get better, that it's not as bad as I'm making it be. And so I could see the frustration, and I know my family loves me, but at that point I felt the loneliest. I knew I only had God. And I was praying. I could hear my dad saying, why? Why is this happening to my daughter? And my husband, he was just like, so, I just didn't know what to do at that point. But I was just praying, and I know I was just trusting in God. But when you're sick, it's really, really hard. I am a firm believer in God, and I never believed in people who committed suicide or felt that death was the answer, because that's not my belief. But when you're that sick, you really do feel like you can't keep living. But I just pray to God to take that out of my mind, that He's better than all of this. He's greater than this. And I know that He could heal me. So I just kept my faith in that. But when you're sitting in a bath and you can't move and you need someone to help you get up and you can't even eat by yourself, you feel hopeless. And you can't even hold your child. I couldn't even hold my son. My parents would just lay him next to me, and that's all I could do, because I had so much pain. It's like it was pain everywhere. I couldn't even sit still because it was so much pain. But I waited and I got better, but I was on now a ton of antibiotics. It wasn't great. It was just not much more pain, but I was not good. I mean, my husband would have to carry everything for me. I was walking again. I went to chiropractors that helped me get better, but I was still not okay. And at that point, I developed a new symptom where I felt like I was floating. It was very strange. My head would spin and I would just be dizzy all day. I couldn't even stand anymore. I started walking. I did feel like the chiropractors helped, but everything was like a Band-Aid. Nothing was better. Like, it was like, okay, at least I'm not just in bed. At least I'm not just laying down. I was taking ibuprofen, strong ibuprofen for the pain and the inflammation, because I had a lot. One of the doctors says it was inflammation. So I was just surviving. But I was thankful to God that at least I was mobile again. This was by end of January, early February. And I was getting close to come to you guys. So I was getting really excited. But I was praying because this was going to be my life savings that I was going to give to this NYCIM. But I was like, Lord, what do I do? If this is where you want me to go, then you're gonna provide. At that point, we were short because I had spent so much money on all these other doctors. Now I tell you, if I could do it again, I would not have spent that money, because it was not worth it. Here it was worth it. I would do that, but I spent so much money, and then I was like, oh, I wish I did not have spent that. But I was waiting to come here, and I was praying to God to help me find people, because at that point, I'm happy this is why you're doing this, and this is why I committed to this, because I couldn't find more testimonials, and I wanted to, because at this point, you have gone through so many doctors, you don't know who to believe. You're like, okay, now I'm going to spend even more money, and what if I don't get better? I've already spent almost half my savings on all these doctors, and I'm not better. I'm just surviving. So I was praying. I was like, Lord, you need to give me a sign. So at that point, I'm doing research online, and I'm trying to find people who have been here. And I find this girl. Her name is Christine. I don't know her last name, but she had posted something way back. She was one of Dr. Shook's first patients, and she had posted something on how she's doing so much better. Every year she gets better. She thanks God. And, that always speaks to me. Whenever you talk about God, and I'm like, okay, that's for me. So I reached out to her. I found her old email. And I was like, her email was old. I mean, maybe from like the 90s. Yes. So I emailed her and I'm like, hi, can you please talk to me about Dr. Schultz? How are you feeling? Like, are you a real person? Or are you like an advertiser? Or are they paying you? Like, who are you? And she's from New York. She went to St. John's, and she's like, he's the real deal. Trust in God, be prayerful, and believe, and you're gonna get better. And I was like, okay, that was the first sign. And it was funny because after her, I don't even remember how I found another person, and that was TJ and Diane, who are patients here, and I sent them a message. And then they called me back. And they were the ones that pretty much really convinced me. Because they were like, their story, I mean, I didn't suffer as much as they suffered. They had suffered for many more years. I know TJ had many years of where he was really sick, and now he's doing better, and every year he gets better, and so they convinced me. So I was like, okay. And I remember what Diane told me. She said, it's gonna get expensive, Kim, but you're gonna get better, and believe that, and trust in that, and don't think about the money, because when you have your life back, there's no price on your life. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I was excited. I came in February. From the moment I walked into the door, I saw Agatha. I was like, I finally meet you. And she was so loving and caring. And then I met the wonderful Dr. Schultz, which from the moment I met him, I was just like, he's just so loving and so caring. And he just spoke to me. We connected because he believes in God too, and he trusts in God, and he's a man of God, and he knows that he is a vessel of God. He's being used by God. And so we spoke, and everything he told me, he just made me feel comforted. I knew at that moment when I spoke to him, I really did. I knew that I had found the place. I knew it. When I met him, I was like, I'm safe now. He told me, you're going to get better. Don't worry. And I had not had that experience with any doctor. I didn't feel it. Like, they didn't feel the confidence that he knows. He knows that you're going to get better. If you follow the plan, you have a positive attitude, and you believe and you trust. Because it's emotional. All of this there's many components to this. It's emotional, it's your physical, it's everything. You have to be all connected. So I started the treatment. I trusted. I did the diet. I followed all his plan. But most importantly, I stopped going on the internet. I was obsessed with it. I was in so many groups. I joined so many Facebook groups. Oh my gosh, what's happening? This, that. And there's so much hurt. There's so much negativity. And I just stopped. And that's what they told me. Caitlin, which I also love. Caitlin, you need to step away from that. You're going to get better. And I haven't gone to any other doctor. I threw everything out. I said, that's it. We're starting fresh. It was bags. I had bags. I should have taken pictures. Bags of vitamins and all these things. And Dr. Schultz, all he gives you is like a list of this. I mean, if that. And then every year it gets smaller. And that's all I've ever done. I haven't even gone to my general practitioner anymore. I honestly don't even trust, and it's sad to say, but I really don't even trust the doctors anymore. If I get a cold or if I get sick, I haven't been to the doctor. I've been here since, it's been 3 years. I've been a patient here. I get a cold, I call Agatha. Agatha, I come here, I need to see the doctor, and even though it's more expensive, I know he's going to tell me what I need, what I have, and what to do to get better. I can't remember the last time I went to the doctor. I really can't. I'm like, I just come here now. And that's been my experience. Yeah. Because now I'm having so much fun. I mean, I'm just enjoying. Like, I can't sit still anymore. My family, they're like in awe. Because I'm like, now I go to work, I go to the gym afterwards. I like to eat. I'm a foodie because after going on that Schultz diet, I was like, I need to eat now. I need to enjoy life. And people don't know, but you're on the strict diet. But then afterwards, you can pretty much eat whatever you want. But you should be eating healthier. But I'm enjoying life. Yeah. I'm enjoying life again. And I have a new appreciation for it. Like now I'm like, babe, let's go to the Bronx Zoo. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's go. I can't stay still anymore. And for me, now being home and being in bed, it's like I correlate it to being sick. So I'm like, I don't want to stay still anymore. I want to go because I was put for so many months. I couldn't move. And, even I finished the treatment in June, July, and I was still not where I needed to be, but I was better. And so I just want to, now I just want to enjoy life again. And I am, So I'm just grateful. It's definitely not a light switch. It's a slow progression. I would say it took me a year to get to feel like, oh, I'm myself again. You honestly don't even notice when you're getting better. It happens so slowly. But you start feeling better throughout the treatment. You do. But don't get discouraged if you're not feeling 100% because you might get a treatment and you're feeling stuff happening. And you're like, whoa. And I remember I would get scared because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel as good as yesterday. What is this? So it's definitely a little bit of a like ups and downs, but it slowly starts to level off. It does. I mean, your body went through something traumatic. So I do think it's nothing scary. It's nothing that you're going to feel. I don't think I ever felt like worse than when I was sick during the treatment. I remember I was doing stuff. I was still active. I still had symptoms, a bunch of symptoms. But I don't remember ever feeling like I can't do what I wasn't doing. I was doing less than from the moment I went to see him. I don't know if that makes sense. But I just kept functioning. And you do feel a little weird. Like your symptoms your things are like moving into, I can't explain it. I don't know. Your body is like, I would feel weird sometimes. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's not working. And I would get scared and I would pray. I was like, no, God, what's happening? And I would call Caitlin, what's happening? Don't worry, Kim. It's just a detox treatment. Their things are getting pushed out. It's going to have... I was like, okay, thank God. So she always calmed me. Like, I love Caitlin. I have a special... Like, I have a genuine love for you guys because you guys are sincere and loving and calmed me down at my craziest moments, and it just worked. For me, it's like this is the place you have to go to. Like, you can trust it. So it's definitely nothing hard, nothing crazy. It's gentle. I want to say gentle. It's a gentle treatment. You're gonna feel stuff. Your body's gonna be shaken up, but slowly it starts to level off, and then you feel great again. And that's how I feel. I feel great. I mean, you can Facebook me that year. Facebook is very telling of my life because that year that I went through all of this, there are no pictures. There's just like sayings of God. Like, God will get me through this, like have faith. And that's all you see on my Facebook page for that year. Now, oh my gosh, you see me, we just went on a cruise. I went at the bottom of the sea and I was walking and I saw fish, and I was just enjoying life. I was on the beach. I was, having fun with my son, and we go to the Bronx Zoo. We do so many things now. Like, I can't stay still anymore. I'm like, I feel great. Every day I say, God, the victory is yours. And I'm living life again. And I wasn't. There was so much that doctors told you to do. Like, I remember there was a doctor who told me I needed to remove certain teeth, and I didn't have to do any of that. And I know people who have had to have their teeth extracted and all these radical, crazy things. And, that wasn't the case with Dr. Schultz. Everything you can feel trusted. I haven't felt as calm and as comforted as I did with him. He had a plan from the beginning. That took me to the end, and I am better. And it worked. I trusted him from the moment he's like, I'm going to take you step by step. And he got me there. He brought my smile back, and that was something that I remember, because I'm a person who always smiles. I'm like, that's always been me. Everywhere I go, people are like, you're always smiling, you're always happy. And during that time, I remember telling myself, I'm no longer this happy person. Like, my smile has gone away. And I'm back to that now. And I'm like, now I get sick or I get a cold, and I'm like, I'll be fine. Compared to what I had, this is nothing, Yeah. It's not easy because I think that once you're done with this journey, or you're on the other side of it, you don't want to think about it again. Right. I don't think I've spoken about it again like this. I don't think I have gone back to those days where I was so sick, and I was like telling myself I have to do it because this is the time.